Spring Television. Ours it is.
According to Wiktionary, break the cycle means to act so as to end a repeating pattern of harmful or otherwise negative behavior. Citing Scott H. Young's April 2007 article, "When everything you try doesn't work, break cycles." Where do you go when you feel you have been doing everything right and you still aren't getting the results that you want? When this happens, it is important to understand there is a cycle of improvement. If you recognize the cycle, you can break away from stagnant results. Whether your problem is a lack of meaningful relationships, poor health and failed diets, or financial troubles and debt, you need to take a look at your cycle to see what is missing. The results you are getting are a combination of three factors interacting with the world. First off is your thoughts. Your thoughts are your ability to solve problems and make decisions that influences how you feel and what you do. Second up is your feelings. This is your filter for the world. It influences the decisions that you make and how you act. And finally, your actions. Actions create effects in your world that feed back into how you feel and what you think. Have you ever noticed that once you experience a little success, it is easier to keep it? Or that when you fail, that can stall your results for days, weeks, or even months? This is because each effect in the cycle of growth loops back on itself. Success builds success, and failure creates more failure. Each of these factors, thoughts, feelings, and actions, have an impact on what you get. But the reason that many attempts to improve fail is because these three factors aren't separate. Each aspect of the cycle of growth fits the other aspect. The real question is, when your cycle of growth is destroying itself, how do you stop it? Breaking your cycle is done by interrupting the flow at one of the key points: thinking, feeling, or acting. Interrupt your thinking. Thinking is how you solve problems. Let's say that you're deep in debt. Your thinking represents the possible solutions you draw to this problem. You could cut back spending or consolidate your interest payments. You could work more hours or cut up your credit cards. Depending on your thinking, you might draw multiple solutions to your problem. Interrupting your thoughts means improving the quality of the solutions that you come up with. Some of the things that can help you here include for you to read books and articles for new ideas. You will never run out of those ones. New updates all the time. Second, take out a pad of paper and brainstorm. 3, ask someone for ideas. Someone said borrow ideas. Consult an expert for advice. And finally, create a plan of action. Next up is interrupt your feeling. Emotions are a filter by which you process the world. It is impossible to fully engage with every aspect of your world. So, feelings create a screen which only lets particular information pass through. The law of attraction is basically a process for interrupting your feeling to get new results. Interrupting your feeling isn't really about getting motivated or thinking positive. It is about forcing your emotional state towards a set of feelings that produces the results that you want. Emotions are a filter, so you need to ensure that opportunities are getting through your filter and aren't being blocked out. How do you help yourself interrupt your own feelings? Keep a journal. Write down your goals regularly. This is bringing us to our mandate for the year 2023 on the bookshelf. So I said keep a journal, write your goals regularly. Next up is for you to surround yourself with positive ideas, positive people, positive materials. If it's for you to paste stuff on your refrigerator, your door, your mirror, your walls, your clothes, your wristwatch, your screen, wherever it is you're going to be looking at, the case on your phone, your device, your different gadgets, in your kitchen, wherever. Surround yourself with positive ideas, people, and materials. Then change your physiology and posture to trigger emotional changes. This is, as minute as that is, very important. Change. Temi used to say, Temi Onosanya, one of the persons I fan, like a friend said, used to say, the only time I look down is when I want to appreciate my shoes. So your posture matters. As simple as that is, it has worked for me and a lot of other persons. And then ask yourself, what is positive about any situation that you're in? You know, talking about the pessimist and then the optimist, half full, half empty. What's the positive? What's positive about that situation that you're in? And remember that it could have been worse. So let's move on to interrupting your actions. Actions are the final link in your cycle of growth. Interrupting your actions means actually changing what you are doing. All interrupts will eventually lead to a change of action, but this means focusing on interrupting the action first. Changing the order, all right? Action interrupts mean you don't try to do a lot of research or think positive. You just experiment a lot. How do you go about this? Conduct a personal experiment. Start working on a new idea. Don't delay. Do it now. Now. Best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. Second best time is now. Change a habit. Stop doing something. Give yourself a unique experience. Here is a couple of signs to look for to see if you need to change your interrupt. If you can't seem to find a solution to your problem, and you're reading more books, listening to more people, or brainstorming doesn't cut it, then change your approach. Try altering your feelings or actions directly. Don't bypass, all right? Somebody said the only way around is the way through. Now, if you're trying to think positive and affirm your goals, but they aren't manifesting, try changing your thinking or action strategies. And if you are working really hard towards your goal and it isn't getting results, try altering your thinking or feeling strategies. Alter it. You know, you could just change the cycle. Maybe you change your action, then change your thoughts, then the feelings, change the action, change the thoughts. However it is you want to do, just make sure that you're doing the right thing. On the bookshelf today, we are ready to break the cycle, although this is not necessarily a bad cycle, okay? As touching the caliber of my guests. My name is Damilola Raphael. We're breaking cycles, right? I'll do the unveiling of the guest right after this breather. Stay with us. Welcome back. Let's take the guest profile. Praise Ayoluwa Oluwaremilekun is a fresh teen whose learning cuts across public and private schools. She grew up within a family of educators. In primary 4, Praise contested to be the class governor and went on to win the school's spelling bee gold medal. She was library prefect in primary 5 and went on to become the school's head girl in year 6. Though very picky with information, her love for learning spurred her on to represent her primary school at different competitions, which she won up to state levels, but couldn't proceed to nationals as that was stalled by the coronavirus pandemic, although she was rewarded with a scholarship for the state win. Praise Ayoluwa is currently preparing for her junior school certificate examination. Esteemed viewer, please Welcome with me on sets of the bookshelf today, the ever-smiling Praise Ayolua Oluwaremilekun. How do you do, Praise?
How do you do too?
Oh, well, and how do you do again?
How do you do too?
All right, we are breaking cycles on the show today. We've always had authors, book writers, and here you are as a book user or a book reader. How did you first come across books?
I'm from a family of books.
From a family of books?
My grandpa is all about books. My grandma is a retired teacher.
Okay.
My mom, at that time, she was schooling.
Okay.
My big mommy, she was taking a degree and she's a teacher.
Okay.
So everything about me was just books.
You had books everywhere. So your contact with books started from home,
Yes.
from the family.
Yes.
How amazing. For you, what are the benefits of reading?
The benefits of reading, it makes you go wild. It makes you know more. It makes you have a different view to something. It makes you smart, and
That's it. Makes you smart, which made you, I mean, all of those awards and medals that we spoke about earlier on. What would you say are the downsides of reading? What are the bad aspects of, coming in contact with books? Or is it all goody, goody, goody?
No, there are some books that give you wrong information.
Really?
That put some junks in it, and then the person has a total wrong view of a particular thing. It makes person go wrong about a thing. So there are some books that aren't really educative.
And then they still make it to the press, to the publisher, even though they are not so good, as long as they get to make the money, put it in print.
Yes.
How amazing. Now, would you, mind mentioning some of the books you have read, and what are some of the interesting, aspects that you still remember?
Okay, in Half a Yellow Sun by Chimamanda
Adichie, Half of a Yellow Sun.
Yes.
You read that book.
Yes.
Quite voluminous.
At first, I was scared to read books like that.
Okay.
And also, there was a country by Chinua Achebe.
Oh, you read that.
Yes,
Those are historical books, actually. Wow.
They're about the Biafran War. The Half a Yellow Sun. I remember I powered
The Half of a Yellow Sun.
Half of a Yellow Sun.
Okay.
I remember I powered talk about that they wait for goats to eat some wheat.
That caught your fancy. Okay.
Yes. Then after 3 days, they see the goats does not die.
Okay.
They go and eat that same wheat. That's how they were feeling throughout that period. And also in there was a country by Chinua Achebe. There was a part he said his son went outside and the enemy's airplane was already closed with bombs in it. So the rest of the family were inside. His wife was scared to go outside to take the son. So he had to run outside to pick the son. I mean, imagine the fear that you used to come outside, pick up child and go back inside. What if they had bombed them?
I mean, that part, where you're talking about now, I mean, different persons were huddled together in the bunker trying to, protect themselves from the aerial raids, and the family, happened to be together, and their toddler went out with his diaper. I'm trying to see that picture right now because you're taking me back to read that book, to the times I've read it, and the mother went out. I mean, not caring whether she was going to die or not. Okay, let me ask. You're still young, of course, but you're a lady, so you become a mother. If this was you as the mother, what would you have done?
I'd have run out to pick the child.
To pick the child,
yes.
Even though everybody is telling you not to.
Yes, but prayers in my heart that that even if they bomb us, I know God is going to protect us, and
you would have done that.
Yes.
Okay, if you were the child and you heard that your parents, your mom, your dad did that, how much more esteem would you hold your parents in? How much more would you love and honor and respect them?
I would love them more. Like, I'll just love them more. And immediately I hear that, of course, I'm shedding tears. Tears of joy that, wow. That, wow, so my mom did this for me.
Okay, so how do you, I mean, you're talking about Half of a Yellow Sun. That definitely is not, or is it one of your literary books in school, the literacy books in school?
No.
So how you know, do you come across the different books, you know, that you have read thus far?
Okay. My mom, she brings books home.
Okay.
I get borrow books from my schoolmates.
Oh, okay.
I go to the library to borrow books also.
Okay.
And wherever I see books, I just feel like picking them up and then reading. And most times I have the opportunity to read them.
Okay, talking about library now, you are a registered library user. You must be rich.
Yeah, if you say so.
If I say so, okay, I say so. I mean, what are the modalities around you? What prompted you being a library user, and what has it been like?
What prompted me to be a library user is I just love the smell of books. I love seeing books, and also in Romeo and Juliet, there was a part that said, being a general with woods and paper hats and wooden swords. Wooden swords is a pencil, and paper hats is the paper.
Okay.
So that's being writing down. So once you write down or once you read, you're a general already. And there's also a saying that a reader is a leader.
Okay.
So I want to be a leader. That's why I read. Well, I read a lot.
So, you know, what has the experience been like using the library? Anything so interesting or dull about the library? What's it been like for you generally?
There have been times I was really bored in the library, and I just sleep off.
You can be bored. Readers can be bored. Is that what you're telling me? You get tired of reading sometimes?
I'm not talking about everybody, but for me,
for yourself,
I just get tired of reading the quietness and everything. I just sleep.
The serenity of the environment.
And there are times I'll pick up some very interesting books. I don't feel like leaving the library.
Dropping them, amazing.
I don't feel like leaving the library. I just read everything I just see that's interesting. And there was a day I went to the library. I saw a man reading There Was a Country by Chinua Achebe. And in my mind, I was like, wow, as old as this man is, I've still read this book before him.
Amazing.
When I got home and I told my mom, she said it could be that maybe it's just rereading it. He has read it before, or it could be his first time. There's always always a first time for everything.
Okay. Did you get to, relate with the person you saw the book with, or just because library rules doesn't allow for talks?
No, I could actually have talked to him in whispers, but I didn't want to talk to him. And other times when I went to the library, I didn't see him. You
didn't get to meet him, which means you could actually also, because I'm seeing the bright side of using the library, apart from sleeping, of course. I'm seeing the bright side where you could also develop relationships with people, knowing new people that ordinarily wouldn't have come to your environment outside of the library. So you get to meet them, and then somehow they may now start finding themselves around your environment, because as you said, if you had reached out to that person, Lord knows what conversation could have come up from there, and how far that could have taken you. How often do you go to the library? Every day after school?
No, not every day after school. I go when there's a time, and when I'm not so busy, I just go to the library.
So every other time you have a free time, you find yourself in the library, you get to visit the library?
Not really every time.
Okay.
But most times, I'll say most times.
Most times you go to the library. All right, we have, talked about you and other people's materials. Have you written any materials, or do you plan on writing any materials?
I plan on writing materials. I've written some, but I've not published.
Okay.
And I do not see most of the stories.
Oh, you can't find them anymore? You lost your script or manuscript?
My grandma used to call it nonsense.
Your grandma calls it nonsense? But do you still, desire to write?
Yes.
What will now make sense? Not just to your grandma, but to a wider audience. Yes. Yeah, are you sure? The one saying the yes on your behalf.
No, I'm sure.
Amazing. Okay, so do you want to tell us something about what you have written, before that's nonsense, or you're not so sure about that?
It's not like nonsense. Grandma is she just doesn't like the way I spend most of my times trying to brainstorm and then writing it down, and the way I sort of waste books when I'm writing.
Tell me about that. All right, talk about, you want to tell us any of those things you've written before? What was it about?
Most of them are about my society.
Okay.
I add some of things I've been through, but most of them about friends and my society.
Okay. Now, talking about losing your script, not just to praise here on set with us, but also to, you, dear listener, and even myself, I've gotten to read about different persons who got to write, lost the manuscript, lost the hard disk, the system crashed, on and on, but they still came back to, put out, their work. I've seen instances of someone who had to be sneaking. You should go and do the research. I've talked about her on in the course of one of the, talking about having the introduction to one of our previous bookshelf episodes. So go and research who it is. It is a she. Let me make it easy for you. It is a she. And, she had to be sneaking out our own book so that it doesn't get burnt. She actually wrote the Harry Potter series. Have I helped you thus far? So let's come back to praise. What would you want to be when you become an adult? Yeah, you're not sure yet. You're still picking and watching yourself grow.
Yes.
Okay.
But most importantly, I want to be a doctor.
You want to be a doctor?
Yes.
A writing doctor. Amazing. Praise wants to be a doctor. An advice for the viewer just before we let you go.
The advice I would like to give the viewers is just read.
Okay.
Reading makes you grow. It just makes you grow. It makes you know more, and gives most books gives you the right view to things around you. And just read, and don't give up on yourself.
Awesome. Isn't that nice? Thank you so sincerely, Praise. That's nice. Very kindly advised. This has really been eye-opening. I mean, Praise, thank you very sincerely. I'm most thankful to have engaged you on the bookshelf today. I look forward to bringing you on the set again with more reports and results. And this is wishing you the very best in your forthcoming examinations.
Thank you, ma.
Here we are again, the viewer, ready to sign out. As long as you have a relationship with books, you're welcome on the bookshelf. And like me today, you can also break the pattern for a better result of, just for a breath of fresh air. My name is Damilola Raphael. I super look forward to hosting you on the bookshelf again next time. Until then, it's goodbye and God bless.